Radio Channel News brought to you by Moose Milling and Go TV Broadcasting Zambia Limited. Radio Channel restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon with the main news. I'm Kennedy Mbewe Jr. The headlines. Quito residents express mixed feelings over the COVID-19 vaccine. Employees working for contractor protest. City of Lusaka appoints a former polo midfielder Isaac Chansa as a new head coach. Kindly be informed that we are also streaming live on the Radio Chingalo Facebook page to you following us on social media. The details. Quito residents have expressed mixed feelings over the COVID-19 vaccine. Some of the residents I talked to expressed different views over the vaccine, saying they have no information about its benefits and side effects. Others, however, said they would not hesitate to take the vaccine because their health is #1 priority. They spoke to Radio Chingla News today.
Bantu chiwishibe bwino ifore bomba akabiri okofire fuma abene na fishi bofuba fire bomba nomba ifwete tule pokele fintu fya kwatya fumuko akula isa mkutungisha abantu ofata twishibe bwino awe muti tete ngote mpantu shirwe corona kana umuti wakwe bati urwero wo kwete ebo urembosha ngani bakateka batungwa ba minister of shani batungwa kafuire na bena baretungwa no wino muti bakutwa monako publicly fina batambisho ko batona kubefine fina bena babatunga batwa batrust ko atifo baletele fisu makumyeyo Yesu kuleka biro buchingo mkwayi papa twachingira ngulo mubere kulesa twisa kusanga ko ubuchingo umubiri mkwayi kusubira kuti nasumina as long as ni health yanzi and then influence national protect na bena mplamino wondesa ngwana betu chilangana usi kwata isona ikofutwa muri no kwativya chike kuyoketa cyari bwena the same medicine AstraZeneca ine baletele dairi bwino tatuishibe how sure are we that you want to receive bwino.
Zambia yesterday received its first consignment of COVID-19 vaccine. Minister of Health, Dr. Jonas Chanda, said benefits of the use of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine far outweigh the risks reported to be related to the vaccine's use. An organization championing the rights of the differently abled persons has bemoaned their non-inclusion in positions of decision-making by most political parties. Born Short Living Tool, BSLT, says it closely monitored the UPND and PF with regards to the inclusion of persons with disabilities during their respective conventions. The organization says it is disappointed that the two major political parties have not included persons with disabilities in top leadership positions of National Management Committee and members of the Central Committee, MCC. Ntalasha Chisha is the organization executive director and has reiterated that persons with disabilities need their own representation if issues concerning them are to be addressed.
Secretary Generals of political parties to begin including differently abled persons in major decision-making positions, including allocating at least a 25% of adoptions to differently abled persons, because we hold a strong view that if matters affecting persons with disabilities are to be given the attention that they need to be addressed and handled by the affected persons themselves. It is extremely disappointing to note that the two biggest political parties do not seem to want to include persons with disabilities in top leadership positions as that of NMC and MCC.
We now go to Chingola, where miners working for contractors at Konkola Copper Mines KCM this morning staged a protest which resulted in the firing of tear gas canisters by the police. The workers were demanding for better working conditions. The irate miners who gathered at Watson Stadium this morning told Radio Chingola News that they are being subjected to slavery wages and prolonged working hours. The protest, which seemed peaceful at first, however, turned violent as police fired tear gas to disperse the protesting miners after Chingola Central Police officer in charge Patrick Muti failed to reach consensus with the miners.
They monafika police but attack na monafika attack yo but stop andire nyaramana masara ziyeswa abantu abatsunga kuno konka neve twaikara bena davya kontoro kapopos wali kutupishe kana fono so January foto faramo shomku yawe ukufora abatforesha abantu abamona otafunga ama families baratforesha barese 1500 for 3 months the economy survive.
And here is Chingola Central Police Officer in charge Patrick Muti, who failed to reach a consensus with the miners. Meanwhile, United Party for National Development UPND in Changa constituency aspiring Member of Parliament Derek Chilundike has bemoaned the poor working conditions prevailing at the mining firm.
Bala utausha buli bakapokola bamu bala bali utaukira bali ichena bali ipera tabakwatana ma conditions of service ayasuma amongst conditions of service ayo nasa kama naini tabakwata medical condition yakwe bati fiba utauka bayipera ulabala ya mufatala baba mune kwawe abengi bayila fe mu government hospitals na mu bala sango kwe bati bimbi fimwe fintu tamuli we bantu bakwalesa ushabantu kulirira vyama conditions of service ube mulandu. Let's show leadership at all levels of operation. Ulino okutontonkanya kwandi nga twakiba kitafye ingenja abantu peacefully nabo bantu balomfwa. We give them hope. Bantu iziti yakwe bati tuule balabale ekyola ebo tumone mu obubi tukanye okumona mukati munda muri mine management ulele ngafirya nakibipa.
The paralegal desk in the Catholic Diocese of Gondola has supported the recent enactment of the Legal Aid Act No. 1 of 2021. Diocesan Paralegal Officer Andrew Chimfwembe said the Legal Aid Act would provide legal support to the operation of paralegal in the country. Mr. Chimfwembe said in the past the paralegal has been operating at the mercy of the government without legal backing. He told Radio Chingle News in Ndola that paralegal has continued to increase access to justice among the vulnerable in the country. Luansha Municipal Council has purchased 3 earth-moving machines at a total cost of 4,821,859 kwacha 24 ngwe to enhance service delivery to residents. The local authority has purchased a grader at a cost of 2,563,000 kwacha, a multi-purpose tractor at 499,858 kwacha 24 ngwe, and a front-end loader valued at 1,759,000 kwacha. Speaking during the launch of the equipment, Luansha Mayor Nathan Chanda said the purchase of the 3 earth-moving equipment would make the council to efficiently and effectively deliver services to the residents of Luansha. He added that the equipment would also help the municipality in the opening up of the new areas for residential property development, agriculture, aquaculture, and industrial activities. Luansha Town Clerk Timothy Mambalakata commended the mayor, councillors, residents, and stakeholders for their joint efforts to help the council in fulfilling its mandate in providing better services. This is according to a media statement issued by Luansha Municipal Council Public Relations Manager Gideon Tole. A 31-year-old man has appeared in the Ndola Magistrate Court on charges of trafficking in psychotropic substances. It is alleged that Gift Mopeta of house number 189 Kitwes in Ndege Village on 12th April, whilst in Ndola, did traffic in 5.7 grams of marijuana contrary to the laws of Zambia. when the matter came up for the plea when the matter rather came up for plea before Ndola Principal Magistrate Obista Musukwa Gift Mpeta pleaded guilty to the offense, but the court recorded a plea of not guilty after the accused claimed that the cannabis which he was found with was put in his pocket by the mob during his arrest. This was when he was asked by the court whether the marijuana he was found with was for personal use or for sale. Mpeta responded that the cannabis was put in his pocket by the mob. Because of this response, the court entered a plea of not guilty. Pope Francis has continued to reflect on the joy of Easter. In a tweet, the Pope reiterated that Jesus is the risen one, the Lord who passed through death in order to lead mankind to safety. He adds that even before one begins to seek him, he is present and he lifts all of humanity back up after a fall. In sports, the city of Lusaka has appointed former Chipolopolo midfielder Isaac Chansa as new head coach. Chansa has replaced Serbian-born coach Jelusevich Vaslin, who has resigned from the National Division 1 side. City spokesperson Alex Njovo said the legendary club is confident Chansa, the 2012 Africa Cup winner, will excel. Njovo spoke to Radio Chinga Sports by phone from Lusaka.
Where we are on the log, we're number 4 actually to win our rescheduled game on Saturday will be number 10. So we are in a very good position to win promotion in the Super Division. So we decided to immediately appoint Mr. Isaac Chansa as our new coach. Mr. Chansa needs no introduction to Zambian football. He has played football at the highest level. He has played at Power Dynamos Football Club. He has played at the Orlando Pirates, Zanaco, and he's won titles. Has played in Iraq, in India, Indonesia. He has played in Sweden, in Europe, almost everywhere. He's a winner himself. On Saturday, when we won our 2020 first provincial cup, he watched the game. He even got the 2 lineups. So he needs no introduction. He's a young man. He was at Forest Rangers as assistant coach.
Chester previously worked at Forest Rangers as an assistant coach. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Chingalo with compliments of Moose Milling and GoTV Broadcasting Zambia Limited. In foreign news, the Mozambican government says it needs more than $114 million for the socio-economic reconstruction of the district town of Palma in northern Cabo Delgado province, recently vandalized by Islamist terrorists. The Minister of State Administration and Public Service, Anna Komohana, described the situation in Palma as extremely difficult, shocking, and violent. She said infrastructure, financial resources had been destroyed in the attack. BBC has more details, more stories from around the world.
1,000 people in areas affected by the conflict in northern Mozambique are facing severe hunger. Jihadists linked to the Islamic State group have stepped up attacks over the last year, forcing hundreds of thousands of people to flee their homes. The Mozambique government says following last month's attack on Palma that left dozens of people dead, the entire local administration will have to be rebuilt from scratch. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has asked NATO for swift action to deter Russia in the face of a Russian military build-up on Ukraine's borders. After talks in Brussels with NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, Mr. Kuleba said direct support to strengthen Ukraine's defence would not be as costly as stopping a war and mitigating its consequences. He said NATO and Ukraine had a clear message for Russia.
Strategically, Russia has to understand that Ukraine belongs to the world of democracies, to the Western world, and the West will not allow Russia to shatter Ukrainian democracy and sovereignty. This is the message, the very clear and very simple message that our friends and partners can convey to Russia. Ukraine is not part of the Russian world and will never be considered as such.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov accused NATO and the US of turning Ukraine into a powder keg. The Austrian health minister is quitting his job, saying he hasn't had a day off work for more than a year. Rudolf Anschober said the stress of battling the coronavirus pandemic had ruined his own health, and that 15 months in the job had felt like 15 years. Mr. Anschober, a member of the Green Party, favours stricter lockdown measures but this has put him at odds with the coalition's Conservative majority, who want to loosen them.
On that note, we end this afternoon's main news on Radio Chingla Tuesday, day number 13 in the month of April. For these and more stories, feel free to visit the Radio Chingla Facebook page. Log on to Facebook and like the Radio Chingla page and link to radiochingla.radio12345.com. Remember, COVID-19 is real, therefore follow the COVID-19 guidelines. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Mbewe Jr. Do join us for the news summary coming up at 16 hours. Thank you very much for listening. Have yourself a lovely Tuesday afternoon.